Are we good? Are we live?
It's on.
All right.
Here we go.
We can never tell. Hey, I'm Shawna K. Facebook Live epic fail broadcaster. But today I've got something super exciting for you. I'm at my fitness boot camp, Calgary Northwest Fit Body Boot Camp, and I want to talk about body fat analysis. And I'm here with Greg Roach of Biometrics Mobile Sport Lab. And so we're going to do, this is going to be what we're going to do for our next challenge at boot camp. And so Greg's just going to, full disclosure, I've already got the results, but I want to show you how this test works. And Greg, what are we going to do?
So we use a piece of equipment called the InBody 520. I won't bore you guys with all the geeky details, but it is a gold standard method, 1 to 2% accuracy. One of the most non-invasive body composition tests on the market today. It takes less than a minute. It takes me way longer to go over the results than to actually do the test itself.
Okay, so normally then what we would do is we would
measure Shawna's height here. She comes in at a
6'3".
staggering 5'2.5".
Okay.
And bare feet, no socks, and we remove all heavy jewelry as well. So Shawna gets up on the InBody, heels centered on those back sensors. I actually enter Shawna's information in here, her height, her age, and her gender. We bring the arm grips up into her hand, thumbs on the silver sensors. I press start. This part takes approximately a minute. The real secret to the accuracy on the InBody is that it can accurately measure our upper body, and that's the real key in accuracy with bioelectrical impedance. So
yeah, and what was really, really cool is it will tell you, well, I'll let Greg explain it, but I found it pretty fascinating. What I like about it is it's so non-invasive and fast to do. So
yeah. Technology.
I passed.
You did pass.
And I didn't even study. So I'm so relieved I get to keep the body. Right?
Yeah, there was no stress involved with that test.
Okay.
People get way more worked up before than they see
know.
the results. Like, okay.
And he said it's best not to work out and not to eat. So I haven't eaten, but I did have a coffee at like 4 a.m. because I trained at 6. And so that will make it
Slightly higher. So the testing guidelines are don't eat for 2 hours before the test because we don't want to weigh your food. No insane workouts for like 24 hours before the test. So habitual workouts are okay, but if you run a 5K every day, don't run a full marathon the day before the test.
Yeah.
And then no caffeine, alcohol, or diuretics for 12 hours. But even, we've tested this so many times, it's ridiculous, but because I'm a nerd on the numbers, but even when people don't follow the testing guidelines, they're only coming in about 1% higher in body fat percentage, which is pretty darn good.
Right, so I'm willing to accept 1% higher body fat. Well, not really, but I didn't want to give up my workout. And I said that next time we do a test, I will do a similarly intense workout at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So that will kind of even out the playing field.
Yeah, as long as we're testing under the same conditions, that's the most important thing.
Okay, so tell me about me.
So let's go over the results here. So we'll maybe show a copy of the test results afterwards here, but at the top it has under, normal, and over. So normal is just what's considered average or healthy for a woman your age and height. So weight is something that I really don't care about because it doesn't tell me anything about you. I really care about lean body mass though. So that's bone, water, and muscle. I typically like to see everybody's lean muscle mass in the over section because muscle is what fuels our metabolism. The more muscle we have, the easier it is to lose fat. And also specifically for women, your best defense against osteoporosis is actually lean muscle mass. So
I'm just going to interject here because all week I've been talking about, or actually the last Facebook Live I talked about, is that we need to increase our lean body, our lean muscle tone, because that helps keep our metabolism fueled. And so that's how to, fight against belly fat and everything else.
yeah, and you need to eat to do that. You cannot put on muscle mass if you do not eat enough food. So.
Yes.
So we can talk about that a little bit at the end as well.
Yeah.
So fat mass, of course, I want that to be in the healthy range there, and Shawna came in at 23.6 pounds of fat, and her lean body mass was actually at 102.5 pounds, and her total body weight was 126.1. So what all those numbers actually mean is a body fat percentage of 18.7, So 18 to 28% is what's considered healthy for a woman. So even with Shawna not following the testing guidelines today, she probably came in at around 18% or maybe just a touch higher than 18%. So the cool part about body fat percentage and lean body mass is actually that they're inversely proportional. So what that means is just by putting on more muscle mass, that in itself drops your body fat percentage. So BMI, or body mass index, this is a number that we do not talk about at all, because the formula for BMI is weight divided by height squared, which literally tells me nothing about what you're made of.
Right.
So commonly people, like, if you don't know what that means, like why it doesn't mean anything, we can take a look at a bodybuilder who has lots of lean muscle mass, but his fat levels are very low. He could be 30 on the BMI scale, which is classified as obese, but he could be at 8% body fat. Obviously, he's not obese.
Right.
And then on the flip side, we can take a 6-year-old woman, let's say, that's been chronically under eating her whole life, and she has really low lean mass, because that's basically what her body is surviving on, is her muscle mass, and her fat levels are really high. Her BMI could be 22, which tells us she's healthy, but she could be 35 to 40% body fat.
Right.
So she has the same cardiovascular disease risks as somebody that physically looks that way. So BMI doesn't give us the full story.
Not so much.
So next section we talk about is body water balance. So this area gives me a little snapshot into people's dietary habits based on water retention. So if you tend to eat lots of crappy foods, you'll retain lots of water, so we can actually measure that. So intracellular water is all that water that's in our muscles and organs, and it's directly related to our lean body mass. So as we gain or lose muscle mass, we also gain or lose intracellular water. Extracellular water is everything else that we carry around. So that's the number that I'm looking at. So when people have lots of sodium, processed foods, alcohol, sugar, stuff like that, they tend to retain water. That's where it shows up. The one variable for women, of course, is the menstrual cycle. During that time of the month, you can put on 3 to 6 extra pounds. It's going to show up in extracellular water as well too. So I don't necessarily care about the volume of water that's in these areas, but I do care about this water retention ratio over here. So that's a measurement of your extracellular to total body water. And Shawna came in at 0.372 there. 0.360 to 0.390 is what's considered healthy, and the ultimate goal is to get as close to 0.360 as possible. And that just tells me that you're not retaining any water, which is a direct reflection of the types of foods that you eat and the amount of training that you do. So more training, eating clean, water retention drops.
Got it.
If that doesn't change, I know you didn't change your
Nutrition.
eating habits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is so telling for all those people. It's like, but I did really well with my nutrition. It's like,
well, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
And this number takes weeks to change as well. Like if you had a bag of chips last night, it's not going to change the number today.
Right.
So it's habitual eating patterns.
And so that's why we're going to do our next challenge for 8 weeks. So 2 reasons, so that women will probably be at a similar stage in their cycle.
Okay.
And then secondly, so that we have enough time to see change.
Exactly.
Yeah. Got it.
So segmental lean analysis, this part actually shows us where your muscle is distributed throughout your body, in each arm, each leg, and your upper body individually. So pretty amazing, but both Shawna's right and left arm came in at 5.51 pounds of lean mass, which is excellent and actually quite rare that her arms are identical. So probably for 80% of the people, the dominant arm is usually going to have a bit more lean mass, which is normal. And what we can also see, if there's big differences between limbs, is it can expose previous injuries. So if you have popped your shoulder out when you were a kid or broke your collarbone, chances are you probably didn't rehab it properly, and there's mobility issues, which in turn leads to not being able to develop that lean mass in the same way as the other arm. So very pleased with your right and left arm there. Upper body came in at 46 pounds, which is excellent. Right leg 14.64 pounds and 14.66 in your left. So that's virtually identical with legs. So when we take a look at the whole picture here, Shawna's quite symmetrical from left to right, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And even despite previous injuries that you've had, so you've done a good job rehabbing that.
Yeah, so I maybe know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If I can train myself.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The data is backing it up.
Good.
So when we take a look at the overall pictures of Shawna's segmental lean mass, we can see that she has more upper body lean mass development than in her legs. So keep in mind that strength and lean mass are 2 separate things. So especially when you're doing lots of high volume stuff with your legs, like doing 100 air squats as an example. Your legs can get stronger from that, but it's such high volume and low weight, it's not going to build that lean mass. So
Right.
two separate things to keep in mind, but in this scenario, to even out your upper body, lower body lean mass distribution, we'd probably look at doing some heavy legs.
Heavier legs.
Heavy squats, heavy
Yeah.
deadlifts, fun stuff like that.
Right.
That's usually the painful stuff that works the best. So up here just gives us some recommendations, which we actually don't have any for Shawna because her body fat percentage is in a healthy level and her muscle mass is also above that 100th percentile. And lastly is basal metabolic rate. So this is how many calories that Shawna's body needs just to function every day. So that came into 1,375 calories. That is just to survive. So hypothetically, if you were in a coma, this is how many calories we would need to give you for your body to stay the exact same weight as today.
Yeah.
So if you're, as soon as you get out of bed and start moving around, you need to eat more than that. And especially when you're working out, you need to eat a heck of a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Because everything that we talk to our clients about in regards to nutrition is based around performance. So if we can give you the right foods and the right quantities where you can crush it in the gym, all this stuff just starts changing on its own.
Yeah, and I'm super excited about this because, like, I don't count calories, I don't count macros. I've been doing, and so all my clients and everybody that's always asking me, well, how many calories should I have? I mean, it's always, I guess it's a ballpark, but it just doesn't tell the full story. On, because 1,300 calories of, potato chips are different than 1,300 calories of nutritionally dense foods. And so I'm all about eating for performance, and that's what we're going to be eating for, whether it's you're my online client or my boot camp client. I can't wait for this challenge for our boot camp. Greg's going to be coming in. We're going to be doing all this testing at the beginning and at the end, right?
Correct.
At the beginning and end. We don't do a middle one. Anything else we should know?
One of the big keys for any type of change is you can't starve yourself.
Oh
and
yes,
make
let's
changes.
talk about that. Yeah.
It doesn't happen. If you're eating super low calorie, what happens, as you know, is your metabolism slows down and it stores your fat. Because fat is actually the best energy source that the body has. So when it's in a starvation cycle, it's going to save that fat because that's it. Like, that's the last resort.
Yeah.
And so it's going to start eating your lean muscle mass actually, and that's when we start getting problems with osteoporosis. You will never build any muscle mass if you're under eating, and you won't lose any fat. So after 8 weeks, for people that weren't eating enough food in that time period, because they're going to be eating super clean during that time period, they might lose 1 to 2 pounds of fat. But we'll most likely see a couple pounds lost in lean mass as well too. I've seen it hundreds of times, and I just can't enforce that enough.
You need to eat.
And of course, I'm talking about lean proteins, healthy fats, vegetables, and fruits, not cheeseburgers and chocolate bars. But yeah, once you fuel your body for performance, we're going to see some pretty staggering changes in a short amount of time.
Yeah, which is super cool. And I've always talked about eating for performance rather than, because the happy result of eating for performance is getting a gold star.
That's right, you passed.
Yeah, so I passed. All right, so super excited about this. I'll take a picture of this and I'll put it in the comments. I'll put bio-metrics.ca. I'll put your link in the comments as well, so that you can look up Greg if you're interested in getting this done. Especially if you're a gym owner, another fit body owner, this is a great thing to bring into for your clients. I'm so excited for my clients and trainers to do this. So thank you.
Yeah,
all right,
for having me, Shawna.
We're going to see if we can turn the camera off. I've got Sheldon, one of my awesome trainers.
You can do it.
Can you do it? All right, let me see if I can. I think this is my 5th Facebook Live. All right, let me see.
Not yet.
See, it's so tricky, right? Slide to stop.
There you go.